I think we live in a world where we need different skills or different, movement capabilities. So you might want to be able to run, but then you want to squat, and then you want to hang, and you want to lift, and you want to do lots and lots of different things. And I also think that not only does it not work for everybody, it works, or what's right for one person changes throughout their life cycle. So through one period of their life, heavy lifting might be really well aligned with where they're at, and then as we move forward, we might need to concentrate more on movement rather than it having to be exercise even. So what's feeling good for you at what point in your life, I think, is a really important consideration, and what's going on in your life at the time, because stressing your body with full-on training sessions when you're going through a stressful part of life is potentially just the complete, well, not the ideal. I wouldn't say it's wrong, because everyone needs to make their own choice, but it may not be the ideal option.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to The Peaks Life with myself, Lynn Fernie, and Mike Warren, and today very excited to be joined by Jen Dugard from Body Beyond Baby. Hi Jen.
How are you both?
Thank you. Yeah, very good. Thank you. Very good. And we're going to dive straight in today. And I'm just going to say to everybody who's tuning in, stick around. The episode isn't all about babies. It's all about health and wellness and prioritizing your wellness throughout whatever journey you've got going on right now. And Jen's got some really fascinating insights, so stay tuned right to the end for some of those really important tips, tricks and tools for you to put in your toolkit. Jen, tell us a bit about yourself and your business, what you're doing with people.
Okay, so the bit about myself that everyone should know is I am a mum. I have two beautiful children. My daughter is 9 and my son is 11, so not quite babies anymore. My business started when my son was 3 months old, and for those people who have children, I got a sleeper first time around, so I was kind of twiddling my thumbs going, what shall I do now? Like, I'll start a business. So I was a personal trainer at the time, and then found myself gravitating into that kind of mum sphere. And decided to set up a business that specialised in working with mums and offered on-site childcare. So I did that for a good 10 years in Sydney's Centennial Park. The priorities there is about helping mums, not lose themselves in the motherhood journey. And I sold the Beyond Baby group exercise with on-site childcare in Centennial Park about a year ago now. But I retained the brand. So what I've done since then is evolve the Body Beyond Baby brand into what we call the Body Beyond Baby affiliate team. Now, affiliate means different things to different people in different organizations. It's almost like a reverse affiliate in that they have their own homepage on my website. The credibility or the promise that I give mums looking on the website is that all of the trainers on there are properly accredited, they're insured, they're all working with women's health physios, and we do a whole heap of mentoring, and it's a membership back end with those people. And I also run a 2-day accredited course called Safe Return to Exercise, which all of those trainers have to have before they become an affiliate. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at the moment, running courses, mentoring, teach, and then speaking. I do a bit of presenting and speaking as well.
So Jen, tell us a bit more about what the trainers are doing, with mums. What's a typical session look like, or what does a typical coaching package look like, and what outcomes can people expect?
Yeah, so I guess the beauty of the Body Beyond Baby affiliate team is that all of the brands that sit underneath the umbrella do their own thing. What we have in common is that we uphold a certain standard of procedure and standard of care for the women that we work with. So every mum that comes into contact with a Body Beyond Baby affiliate can expect a really thorough pre-exercise questionnaire. They can expect to be asked about their pelvic floor, to be taught about their pelvic floor, to be checked for abdominal separation, and also to be referred to a women's health physio. So you may or may not know that your pelvic floor is an internal muscle, and no matter how good we as personal trainers are at our job, we can't see or feel that muscle. So that's where our partnership with a women's health physio is really important in shaping the way that sessions are ran. And then within that, we could have a CrossFit coach, or we could have a Pilates teacher, or we could have a swim instructor. And each one of those people will, make sure they're really concentrating on mobilizing parts of a woman's body that get tight in pregnancy and postnatally, strengthening the parts that are weaker, which are generally pelvic floor, abdominals, glutes, back, but then also using what they've learned within Safe Return to Exercise to adapt their whole training session for the mums. So to kind of give you a rundown of a session, I'd be kind of doing them an injustice because it would be just the way that I do things. But the beauty of the way that we do it is that everyone gets to put their personal stamp on their own training sessions. And I think that the more voice working with mums is better than everyone just doing it Jen's way.
Mm. So, Jen, how far do you extend the service? Obviously, you're in New South Wales and Australia. Is there a plan to expand the services to the rest of Australia? What's the future hold in the business?
Yeah, so we've got 23 affiliates, and they're across Australia and New Zealand. So they're not all just in New South Wales. The number is relatively small at the moment. So 23, when you think Australia and New Zealand, it's not a big number. But we've got a couple of affiliates in New Zealand, a couple in Tasmania, three in WA. So we are hitting most states. I don't think we're in South Australia as yet. So, yeah.
And is the plan to expand further?
Absolutely. So the goal for me is to introduce hopefully 100 affiliates into the team in 2020. And the mission is to make sure that every single mum has access to safe, effective exercise after having baby.
And just want to dig into that a little bit. One of the challenges that new mums will face is that, especially if they want to get back into the workforce, is the challenge around time. How do I, spend time on myself when I've got baby or I've got young children? I'm trying to get back into work. I'm sure that's a common challenge across that entire group. What do you say to those mums when you or your trainers meet them? And why should they be putting their body first when they've got all these other demands on their time?
I think the first key message out there is for mums to be gentle and to be kind to themselves. So if you legitimately don't have time and it's getting away from you for a while, then be in that kind of mum bubble for a little while. And then when you feel like you've got the energy to start to come out of that, then it's that put your oxygen mask on first theory. It's if mum isn't looked after in the long term, we can prioritize other people for a certain amount of time mentally, where mum needs stimulation, she needs to be nurtured, she needs to be looked after. And I think the more that she gets into her head that the better she's looked after, the better she can look after her children and her family. And then in order to do that, finding things like asking for help. Like, so many women don't ask for help. They don't even accept help if it's offered to them, which is a shame because it takes away the other person's opportunity something for them when they might be sitting back going, I really want to help, but I don't know. Finding groups of like-minded mums that are going through something similar. So the beauty of a fitness group that is for mums is you bring together this community of women who they're all there because they either want to prioritize their health and fitness or they are prioritizing their health and fitness. And they all know how hard it is. So you've got this group of people that can pick you up. So I think the biggest thing is knowing that it's okay to be a little bit selfish and then asking for the support that you need in order to make that happen.
So there's two things I really wanted to pick up on there. And the first one was around the asking for help. And one of the things that we find is that's not unique to mums. So a lot of the people that we're working with and who are tuning in are busy executives, entrepreneurs, business managers, business owners, and male and female, and they all suffer that same challenge. They don't like to ask for help. There is this perception in our society that you should be able to cope. And so I think that, one of the things that people can, the most important thing for people to do is to reach out and say, hey, I do need some help. And that help can come in a lot of different forms, right?
Absolutely. And I think it's the judgment that we lay on top of asking for help. that's the problem. It's not, it's the what will they think of me if I ask for help, especially people in a high powered position. If you're seen to not be able to cope, then does that mean that you can't do your job properly, or people around you won't trust you? And I think that it's only through more of us putting our hands up and going, we need help, then that we can actually break down that kind of concept of it not being okay to need help, because we're all humans. And we used to live in villages, didn't we, where we all helped each other, and now we just try and fend for ourselves. So
exactly right, and that's the segue into the second point that I wanted to draw out, which was around the community. So I think something that you said there was around bringing, like-minded people together, because they're about to start, embark on their journey, or they want to get, in better shape. But bringing a group of like-minded people together makes it a lot easier, because you're all sharing the same challenges. And again, whether it's new mums, whether it's busy executives, if you're in a group of people who've got similar challenges to you, what you see and hear is you see how somebody else is dealing with it. You get ideas, you get motivation and inspiration. So I think in the past, where we lived in true communities, that was a lot easier, whether it was coffee mornings, whether it was just catching up with the neighbours. Now we don't live in true communities. We're very isolated. Mums get isolated, business managers get isolated. Similar sort of challenge. So it's finding ways to connect, whether it's face-to-face or virtual, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's part of what the affiliate team has been all about. It's a group of business owners who generally are going it on their own, who also see mums doing it on their own. So I now get to support business people that are supporting mums themselves. And I think one of the things I've always done in business is seek out a community of people that are either going through the same experience as me or who have been there before. So if someone's sitting there listening now going, I feel like I'm on my own, there's a community out there for you, and being part of listening to this podcast and that kind of thing is a start. And then, making those steps.
Absolutely right. And I think, there's so much value in those communities. When you work with women, and when your affiliates and trainers work with women, is it always face-to-face, Jen, or have you also got, online virtual communities?
Yeah, so a lot of them are face-to-face, but there's been a lot more kind of membership portal type things popping up, and whether that's to support women that are training face-to-face, or whether it's they bring in people from the outside. So we've run challenges before where it's not people that train with us, it's communities of mums that are all, we've done an 8-week run challenge, and the backwards and forward in those kind of groups and the chat and the support is fantastic. So it's not always face-to-face at all.
Yeah. So next question I had for you, Jen, was around the type of movement and exercise that people are doing. And one of the things that we always say to people, and people that we're working with and coaching, is that everybody's different, everybody's unique, and what works for one person won't work for the next person. It won't work for your friends. It won't work for your family. And I guess I'm curious as to how much of your business is founded on that sort of principle.
A lot of it, especially now I've moved into working with a diverse range of fitness professionals rather than it being my group training business in a park. When you're in a park, it is generally a type of exercise. But I also, back then, also used to see my exercise as a part of their week, not all the be all and end all of what they do. I think we live in a world where we need different skills or different, movement capabilities. So you might want to be able to run, but then you want to squat, and then you want to hang, and you want to lift, and you want to do lots and lots of different things. And I also think that not only does it not work for everybody, it works, or what's right for one person changes throughout their life cycle. So through one period of their life, heavy lifting might be really well aligned with where they're at. And then as we move forward, we might need to concentrate more on movement rather than it having to be exercise even. So, what's feeling good for you at what point in your life, I think, is a really important consideration, and what's going on in your life at the time, because stressing your body with, full on training sessions when you're going through a stressful part of life is potentially just the complete, well, not the ideal. I wouldn't say it's wrong because everyone needs to make their own choice, but it may not be the ideal option.
So Jen, what about your life? You're an entrepreneur, you're a successful businesswoman, you've got a growing business, you've got a young family. What are some of the wellness tips for you as an executive? And a lot of our listeners are executives trying to juggle all the things you're juggling. What are some of the tips you have for someone looking to maintain their wellness and stay grounded, but still run a business and be a dynamic executive?
Absolutely. I love the word grounded. I think one of the biggest things is to be aware of where you're at in each moment of your day. And if you're finding yourself being really reactive to things that are going on around you, then what has taken you to that point? And to, put into action ways in which to change something. So I remember not that long ago, I would get to the end of my day and unlucky for my kids, they would get me at the end doing, whatever. And it's like, they've not seen my day. They just want to spend time with me and they're copying whatever shit's going on in my life. And when you start to look back, it's, did I not prioritize my training? Did I not prioritize meditation or going for a walk or doing something along those lines? So I think for executives, and I know for myself, I need to be very systematic in where my training sessions go. So obviously when you've got a family, sometimes you need to be more flexible. But if you're someone that lives by a diary in your business, I would live by a diary in your lifestyle as well. So you put in your training session with your trainer, or you put in your yoga, or you put in your half an hour meditation, and it doesn't get moved just because you're not seeing somebody else. It stays there and it's a priority. I think that's probably one of the biggest, being disciplined around self-care, which might feel counterintuitive sometimes, but that would be my biggest tip, I think.
I love that. I think that so many people compromise. So they start out with great intentions. I'm going to do meditation every day, and then life gets in the way. Or I'm going to go to bed early every day. And they do for 2 or 3 nights, and then there's another email to deal with, or there's a show that they want to watch, or, unfortunately one of the kids has had to get up, and all of a sudden the good intentions have gone. So I think that's self-discipline to do what's important for you, to make sure you're the best version of yourself, to then be able to give that best version to the family and the business is so important.
Absolutely. And I picked up on what you said there about some things happen with the children or the email. And it's like, what are the things that we can control? So we can't control what happens with the children. So we need to allow space in our life to kind of roll with the punches or flow through whatever kind of comes to us. But with a business, you can set real good boundaries. And I think when you start to set your boundaries within your business, your performance gets better. So if you're an executive with a support person, like a PA or something like that, make sure that they know that you don't have something in your diary at 11:30 every day because you've got half an hour meditating, and it's a non-negotiable. And the sooner you have somebody else on your side that's planning your diary in that way, but the second that you slip up and just go, oh, don't worry about it, we'll just push it that day, that meeting with yourself has got to be as important as a meeting with other people. And then when you move back into your home life, you know that you've done the self-care that you need to do in the day. You've given your best self in the moments when you're working, because I don't think that we can be productive all day, every day without doing the self-care anyway. And then when we try and take work home with us, it impacts into our relationship and our family. So, it might be a little bit weird or feel a little bit stressful to put things like this into place to begin with, but what it actually does is free you to be able to be your best self in every part of life.
I think there's a couple of really important tips and points there. Is I love the fact that you said that meeting with yourself. If that's meditation, that meeting with yourself is as important or more important than meeting with other people.
Absolutely.
Great way to look at it. And making sure that you've done those things, you haven't let them slip, to then allow yourself to enjoy the rest of the life and have the flexibility. So it's that really nice mixture of self-discipline to look after yourself, but then flexibility in the rest of your life to be able to enjoy every day.
I think all too quickly, if there's people listening with kids that are young kids, it can be really, really hard to start with, and you kind of, you almost wish the time away because it is so hard. But I know my kids now are 9 and 11, and what I know is if my son wants to go on holiday with me once a year until he's 18, that's 7 more family holidays. And it's like you stop, once they get that little bit older, you start to understand how you have to prioritize your life values, not just your business values. So if family is part of your life, you have to prioritize them, because you're going to blink your eyes and he's going to be, in less time it took for him to be 11, he's not going to want to hang out with me anymore. So I need to kind of make the most of that now.
That's exactly right. And, you know, just something else that I think is super important is, whether we're talking about movement, whether we're talking about meditation, whatever form of self-care we're talking about, and wellness, it probably will be hard at first, because if you're not doing it right now, you're introducing something new or different into your life that wasn't there before. You've got to make time for it. You've got to make space for it. And, you know, it is hard, and it's okay for it to be hard, because this is an investment. It's an investment in you and your future, and it'll pay off. If it was easy, then we'd all be, you know, incredibly well all the time, super happy, and there would be no problems in the world. So of course it's going to be hard. That's okay, and just make the investment.
And also know that if you mess it up one day, it doesn't mean it's over.
Yeah,
Just pick it up the next day. Yeah.
So Jen, give us some tough love. So imagine that you're meeting with a busy professional who isn't necessarily made the decision to start exercise, start their wellness journey, but they're still resisting and still thinking that they can mainly focus on work and wellness and exercise not a priority. If you were talking to that person and trying to get them across the line to understand the importance, what are the sort of the 3 messages you'd give them to help them jump across?
My brain goes, and I'm going to go off track, and I know you said 3 messages, but my brain goes first straight away to understand your life values. And I touched on that a little bit beforehand. And what I mean by that is, I think pretty much every person in business can tell you their business values, but a lot of people in business have not thought about their life values. And if your business value does not align, if you don't see that playing out in all areas of your life, then it's not a life value. It's just purely a business value. And one of the kind of straight up conversations is that if you don't understand your whole life values, then you're fitting your life into your business, not your business into your life. And that means that you are sacrificing health and well-being. You're sacrificing family. You're potentially sacrificing a relationship or a potential relationship. So I guess if I want to go three hard points is know your life values. And Brene Brown's got some great stuff on life values. I've got a life values worksheet if anybody wanted to work through that I'm more than happy to give to your listeners. Then when you know your life values, have some real tough conversations with yourself about whether you're living into those values in all areas of your life. So for example, one of my life values is courage and the other one is connection. So it's really important for me to be connecting with the people that I'm with at the times that I'm with them. And that means that, and having the value of courage might mean that a really amazing business opportunity comes up for me, but it takes away from my family and my children for too long. So what I get to go is I need to have the courage to say no to what looks like this shiny business opportunity because it breaks the connection that I have with my family. And then know that something else in time will play out, but I can remove that guilt or that fear of missing out over that big opportunity because it didn't fit my whole life values. And just have some real, I don't want to swear, real honest conversations with yourself about whether your life is, balance is a shit word, but whether your life is a rolling balance or whether it's always out of balance, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's really good. Actually, it's interesting you mentioned values because I'm going to show you my tattoo. We have our tattoos. We have our values tattooed on our arms.
Awesome. What are your values?
Yeah, and we go through the same process of evaluating every decision we make, whether it's in business or personally.
Yeah, cool.
We run them through the values process.
Yeah, and what are your values?
Oh, we'll take a few minutes. Primarily, the one that you'll probably tune to is it's around making sure the impact of the family and friends. If we're making a business decision, it doesn't impact our wellness. That the return on the effort we put in matches the amount of time and effort we give to it. So we literally walk through it, and we have these really robust conversations to make sure the decisions we make, and the tattoo's there, so it's not going away. We can't ignore it. And it works really well for us. So, yeah, so it's a very cool alignment to what you're doing.
That's really cool. I like it.
Good. So Jen, thank you, because we've seemed like we've chatted for 5 or 10 minutes, but it's actually gone on for a little bit longer. And you've given us some really cool insights. I think the listeners who are tuning in are probably writing down and going, "Wow, there's some really cool insights there." We have some tough customers out there who are really struggling with, should I come on board on the wellness journey? Should I start exercising? I think some of the advice you've given us and some of the insights is really going to help them. So thank you for sharing your journey. Thank you for sharing your time with us today on The Peace Life.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And as we said at the beginning, great tips right at the end. So love it. Love the value that you've added there, Jen. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time, Jen. Take care.